You've literally laid out a model like one of the best that we've ever had on this show. This is like
Agreed.
awesome.
Welcome to Seven Figure Entrepreneur Podcast, the #1 podcast bringing you behind the scenes with real online earners. No fake gurus here. Today we have the wonderful Chris Thomas. He got passed on to us from our good friend John Valenti. John Valenti has like stacked us up with some podcast
You
people.
definitely
Man.
have,
Like
man.
every time he's like, dude, you got to get this guy on. He's got some good shit. I'm like, all right,
yeah.
Done. Don't even vet him. Don't even sometimes we like call people or have pre-calls with people to be like, hey, is this dude legit? But not when John passes it on. So Chris, welcome. We also got Tyler Devin looking tanned as fuck.
Right?
Look at that. Looking good. Living his best life down there in sunny Tampa, Florida. All right, Chris, happy to have you, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. I think it's awesome. You guys are, bringing people on, kind of sharing info that might have been underground and bringing it up to the surface, kind of paying it forward. So I like what you guys are doing. I'm really thankful you guys brought me on. Thanks for that.
Yeah. So do you want to kind of give us a breakdown of like what you currently do? And then what we're going to do is rewind and talk about how you got into that position.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like crazy. I feel like we all can relate on like, this is what we do for a living. This is awesome, but I never thought in a million years. But yeah, basically in the whole internet marketing world, my specific niche is firearms and tactical gear.
Nice.
And I'm not even that much of a gun guy. I just know how these clicks work. And just like I said, I never thought I'd stumble into this, but ton of email marketing. I own and operate over 8 million unique firearm and gun tactical eyeballs. And, I just basically media buy, running gun sweepstakes. I get a whole bunch of people to opt in. And then I earn the subscribers' trust by sending a lot of good content, like the top 10 guns of summer 2021, right? That'll be like a subject line, feeding them that content, right? Showing, that the common denominator is they're into guns. So I don't overthink it. And I just send them what they want to see. Gets in real good.
What a great market.
Yeah. I mean,
like a passion point of view, like the people who are into guns are like into freaking guns, man.
Oh yeah. I think that I read somewhere that the average gun owner owns 8 guns. It's like almost a hobby too. Yeah. It's crazy, right? Only in America. But like the more the Second Amendment seems to be a threat to gun owners, the more engaging the websites and the email lists are. And a lot of these offers I promote kind of have that hook to it. Like, get in on this before your Second Amendment rights are infringed upon, that whole thing. Like I said, I stay right down the middle. I'm not left, right, whatever politically, but I just know what they want to see, what's going to get them to open and click the most, and what's going to drive the most revenue when they click on these offers. So like 2 weeks, I'll send them a lot of content. And then after that point, it's pretty much dedicated email offers, whether it's like my own offers or I'm promoting, some other guys that happen to have something dialed in this niche. It's kind of like
awesome, dude.
Big scope of what I'm working on.
Very cool.
Really cool, man. Such a good niche to get into. Yeah,
for sure. My first question when you first started talking about this, like how the hell do you buy traffic for that? Like, does Facebook allow that?
No Facebook. I actually leverage other people's email lists. So one in particular is kind of like, because, at the end of the day, you can, and I haven't messed too much with Facebook or Google, YouTube advertising. I know these are all vehicles to get you to the same, promised land of making a profit. But I found out that, doing a media buy to somebody else's list, right? I send them a flat rate, kind of like cross my fingers, roll the dice with them, and they blast out my sweepstakes to their list. But it works out because I know that they're email users. The only way that they could have possibly interacted with my ad is by opening and clicking on this email list that they're already loyal, subscribed to, right? And then, I bought in Facebook leads from people and stuff like that. And it's not like I can't talk bad against Facebook at all, but it just doesn't prove that they're an email opener and clicker, right? Just taking it down like big, kind of like big concept and just honing in on that. So that's basically what I do. I leverage other people's loyal followings. They run my sweepstakes and I got to pay them a flat rate, right? Like there's the whole media buy side, and sometimes I'm not right. But basically over the last 5 years, I've been able to aggregate like 20, 25 gun publishers that have this active readership of gun people to where I know once they opt in, they're going to open and click the content that I send them. And it's just a obsessive focus over how can I get more unique gun interested email subscribers. Again, I never thought this is what I'd be doing for a living, but
Yeah,
I figured this out. So yeah, that's
dude, that's freaking wild, man. That's smart. You know, it's a very interesting, like this is a prior guest I bring up pretty often, Scott Rerick. Like one of the things he was telling me about is just how much email traffic is out there.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think people realize, but like there's some brand, I forget what it was, but it grew to like 5 or 10 million a month in a few months, 95% email. Like, there's so much freaking email traffic out there. I think the biggest disconnect is people have no idea how to buy it.
That's true. No, and it really took just me reaching out, right? Like, I guess I'll kind of rewind, and I don't know if Gabriel, if you wanted to ask me kind of like a question to open up into this. I'm about to jump into kind of like
man, like I'm intrigued by it all, but like we do want to hear how you got into this, man, because I feel like that's big value.
Yeah, I just like, man, it's so cool to even just side note be on something like this, because I'm 28 now. When I was 21, 22, I mean, like, you look through my YouTube and Google history, it was just like how to make money on ClickBank, how to make money from home. And like I was always watching videos like this, like where I'm listening to people's, and it just like, I'm getting the chills. Like, oh, it's just
That's
crazy.
dope, bro. I love it.
Kind of turns,
dude, I love it though. And that's like why we built it, man. Cause I feel like we get so many people reaching out to us like, how do I make money online? I'm like, man, go back and watch all the episodes, pick a way you want to do it, and then just dig into that.
Yep. And never question it. Once you find a little bit of success, just like,
hard. Hit it hard, sell your house, do whatever it takes.
But shoot, man, I'll like take you guys from the very beginning. I was 20 years old, playing college football at this school, Weber International, real small school. I just loved the game. I wanted to played linebacker there, had the best time ever, but knew I wasn't going to the NFL. It was like very clear, like it just wasn't happening, right? So I had started to think like, all right, what's the plan? You know, I'm doing this marketing degree. I don't want to do the corporate thing. So then like that, so my mom was like, hey, you know, like we need maybe a little bit help on rent one month. So I had this idea to like start fixing up iPhones. I just obsessed over YouTube and learned how to do this. Like I would just put up flyers around the school, like, hey, if you have a broken iPhone, I can either fix it or buy it from you. But there's this discrepancy in knowledge of like maybe what I can flip it for on eBay once I fix it. So there was like that little entrepreneurial spirit back then.
Side hustle.
Yeah. And like, it was really cool. Cause like, it was like, the first time where I wasn't maybe just doing it just for myself. I was like, man, I feel like really like take the pressure off of my family, because it was like a private school, and getting a scholarship at a small school like that basically just makes a private school semi-affordable. It's not like a full ride or anything. So it's not like I made it easy on my folks, so to speak. But so they did so much for me, and like I could talk about my parents forever. They're older like than people my age. My dad's 72, my mom is 67. I always felt like that having older parents, just I don't know if it's true or not, I just felt like I had an edge on my peers. Like I have parents that lived on the earth 2 decades more than your parents. Maybe they're teaching me different things, whatever. That maybe it's just in my head.
It's a cool perspective, bro.
Yeah, I appreciate, you know, like, sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. But
that's fine, man.
The iPhone thing was cool, and it got me thinking like, all right, how do I scale this? Like, what is building a business really about? Like, how do I use online advertising to help people or find more customers to fix these phones? And I really pushed it hard until my junior year when I was 21, and I was talking to my dad about ClickBank, and man, people are making money online, and like I'm doing this iPhone thing, but I know that there's a way to like not even hold product and like make money. And I just like obsessed over this, just like learning how to do the iPhone stuff, like a whole summer. I have a group of friends and everything. I could have hung out, but I locked in, and I just learned every way you could make money with ClickBank. And I didn't have any success. It was just like wasting money on gurus. I'm sure we've all, you know, been there. I mean, like I wasted a lot of money.
Sure.
They only give you just enough, right? Just enough to keep going to the next course, whatever. So epic failures there. But because I put this on like my dad's mind, he's a lifetime car salesman. He ends up selling a car to a guy, Mercedes-Benz. And he's like, he had to put it on payment. So he saw what the guy made a year. And he's like, hey, what do you do for a living? He's like, oh, I do internet marketing. I broker email lists. Like, okay. So my dad's like, you guys looking for an intern? And he's like, okay. So I was the first ever intern at this place called the JRWA, the James R. Whalen Agency. And the guy's name is
cool.
Guy's name is Scott Smoliak. My dad sold the car to. He's got a great business called Email Abilities. Highly recommend if you need email traffic. Obviously, I'd like to promote my own biz, but they got a lot of good stuff going there. And I owe him and his business partner, Demetrius Robinson, a lot of credit. So I get into this internship. I'm ripping, basically my job was to rip out magazines and give it to the other sales guys, just like from the ground floor. But I had this got to make my dad proud thing. So it kept me interested, right? Like if I didn't have that, I think I would have just been, the hell am I doing ripping out these magazine ads? But I bring up Scott and Demetrius because these guys were doing stuff at like such a high level, like bringing in 100K months and stuff like that. And this was my first ever job. And I just got to have this like blank slate mindset, super eager to make money online. It's like this perfect storm where I'm seeing these guys broker conservative news email lists. They would broker stuff like, they have these connections with email lists like WND.com or theblaze.com, like real like Fox News heavy conservative stuff. And they'd find health advertisers and gold advertisers and that whole thing, right? So I just got to see these guys perform at such a high level that I was like, don't need to question anything. I need to know everything that they know. So that was the internship year. I ended up graduating from Weber. They offered me a job. It was so cool as like an actual salesman. So, I'm coming home every day. Dad, man, I'm still home with my folks. And I'm like, Dad, these guys are bringing in some loot. This is amazing. And instead of being so like awestruck like I was, he just kept saying like, why not you? Why not you? You can do it. You're on the same playing field as them. You're just a phone call away. Like all this good Tony Robbins-esque advice, man. And I was just eating it up. I was like, thank you so much, Dad. It was cool. We got to connect on like a cool way like that. So anyways, they end up leaving, starting their own business, Email Abilities. They saw the grass was greener, kind of doing their own thing. And then it was just kind of like me and no clients and just like, all right, what am I doing? How do I make success happen? And very, very fortunate that one of my first ever clients, his name's Tim Reese. We have the same birthday too, February 12th. And we're, 5 years ago, and we're still doing a lot of work. I promote a lot of his tactical offers, but I bring up Tim because Tim was like, hey, I had a 0 month. Like, I didn't make any sales. I didn't offer anyone traffic. It was really tough. And he came out of the blue and was like, hey, Chris, I have this knife offer. And I'm realizing that when we put it in front of gun eyeballs, it's doing really well. Find me a gun list and I'll buy it from you. So it was a guaranteed sale. I just needed to find the gun list. And it was like super, I wouldn't say the process of finding these publishers was easy, but it was a very easy equation. Like find this for him and he'll buy it and I won't have $0 this month, right?
Yeah.
That's where the whole finding gun list started. And he was the first person to show me what he was making off of the traffic I was providing.
Wow.
Everyone else kind of held the cards, right? They're like, hey, I only knew something was working if they say, yeah, I'll renew it. I'll buy this list again. I'll rent it out again. And Tim was like, hey man, just so you know, that thing you sold me that you made $50 on, like, here's what it's doing for me. And that was it. I was just like, oh, I need to get on the other side so fast. Cause he's like so happy to spend 4 or 5 figure deals with me. And here I am making like $50, $100 every time. I was like, hold on, something's not adding up here, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
So was it a credit card knife?
No, but I'm familiar with that, like survival life guides and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah,
that's crazy, man. So you started basically, so you start seeing the arbitrage essentially of like buying traffic from one place, showing them an offer, seeing the revenue. What was kind of your next step to creating your own email list?
Yeah, just knowing that, okay, this guy Tim's got this offer. He's not really collecting email. It's just like this list of buyers. But all these lists that I'm like renting out to people, they're like big lists. So I start seeing on these gun lists, I started signing up to like 50, 100 gun lists. I start seeing like all these sweepstakes, all these giveaways. What's going on here? Like that's got to be like the most attractive thing to dangle in front of a gun audience.
Free
So
gun.
I end up,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, really how it works is you say like enter to win $1,300 to buy X gun, and it's like the most expensive gun. I'm sending a check out to the winner. Now, I can't ship out firearms. I'm not in FFL. Correct. But what you're able to do is like qualify the people, right? They're not interacting with the ad unless they're a super gun person, right? You're not saying like win cash. It's like win cash for this gun. So you're like kind of qualifying it. But to answer your question, like the first leap was, okay, I had a little bit of money in my pocket and I was still at home, and I was like conferring with my own dad, like as like a business advisor. I'm like, hey, I'm like ready to take this leap. And he's like, just do it, man. Like if all else fails, you're at least going to have a place to lay your head at night. I was like, all right, like that's all I need to know. I basically found a gun list that I never brought in to any of these clients. I felt really good about it. Felt like there was like almost a discrepancy in what I know clicks are worth versus what the publisher and list owner knew what clicks were worth. But I was like this knight in shining armor to them because they're like, I don't know how to make money on my list. I'm just promoting my own stuff and I make like 2% margins on selling gun parts. And I was like, oh, no problem. Because I knew about the aggregate collection of these direct response offers that a click equals a lot more than maybe a click to the actual list owner. So it's like this perfect kind of dynamic of where I'm paying them what they're so happy to receive. Meanwhile, I'm kind of holding my cards knowing what I'm spending is kind of a huge win. Like, you know, I was getting clicks for like a nickel, you know, spending maybe $1,000 getting 6,000 clicks. Right. So it was like, started finding more and more of these people, but I ended up taking the leap, spending money I kind of didn't have. And it all worked out to where these people started subscribing in. I actually promoted one of Tim's offers, made like $500 in one day. I'm like, oh, this is all I needed to know, man. Like, what would it have taken me to sell, broker email list to bring that home? And that was it, man. Like, and then I just went on this hunt for the next 2-3 months of just finding more and more gun lists for myself to buy into, not necessarily bringing it into the place I was working on, where I was working, right? So it's just like that. It's just crazy, right? So I just started finding these wins, getting these subscribers. Before you knew it, I had like 150,000 person email list that was getting a 30% open rate. And then I just said to the guy, James R. Whalen, the guy who ran the place, I said, you know, like, I really am interested in affiliate marketing. I think I figured it out. I think it's like time for me to go. And it was like kind of like a sad thing, whatever, because I was like doing better at sales and everything there. But he really, I have a lot of respect for that guy because he understood like, okay, you know, you want more, you don't want to be offering the list, you want to own the list. And he understood that very gracefully. And he just said, you know, best of luck with everything.
That's awesome.
And they've actually purchased some rentals from me. So it's just crazy how that all came around where I'm a sales guy and then now we're like kind of B2Bing things. But
that's dope.
Very cool.
That was it. Sorry for that long explanation. I just get so
No, but it's cool to walk through and see how you built it up, man. Like a lot of people, you know, it's funny. A lot of people get their start in this industry from someone else. And like, that was true for me. That was true for Gabe. It's true for you too, man. It's crazy how this industry is given so much to so many, just by kind of like mirroring and mentoring and stuff. So that's sick to see how you progressed. Yeah. And it's cool too, because it's like, again, that's a channel. Like I send a lot of email. I buy a little bit of email, but it's like one of those things that like not a lot of guys talk about as far as the traffic source goes. Like Google, you know, Facebook advertising course, and you'll find a million of them, or Google or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know what exists for email, man. Like these email ability guys, I pulled them up as you're talking about them. Never heard about them in my life, and I've been doing this like 15 years.
Yeah.
So it's like it's just crazy, man, to realize how much more potential opportunities out there.
Yeah, it's like these sales guys. You know, I'll just say too, my two roommates in college, Danny Booth and Jamie Waldron, we're all captains. We're all like the meatheads, but we all were like we tried real hard in school and stuff too. So we weren't like full on meatheads, but Jamie is the lead sales guy who rents out the list now. He's doing well. And one of his bigger pitches to clients he finds advertising on Facebook and Google is, hey, we own the email list and the ISPs, you know, we're in Maripost and we're in real tight with them. We obviously know what we're doing. We don't get like complaints or we're like spam compliant and that whole thing. We're not getting shut down. Maybe you've had issues, you know, he's saying to the client, maybe you've had issues with Facebook taking your gun related page down or Google not giving you that reach or making you bid too high. So that's actually one of his pitches is like, hey, we own our private traffic source. We're not going to get like shut down. If it works for you, it's just a matter of like how much you want to buy and how fast and how does that make sense, right? Mashing up the traffic to the offer as aggressively as possible to where, you know, for every dollar they spend, they're making more than $1. Cool. We're in business. Let's just like kick this thing in high gear.
No doubt.
Yeah. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like crazy. I feel like I'm in a dream even talking about it, like how it all works out, you know? But
no doubt, man.
Yeah.
But I'd kind of like be down to dive into the mechanics of buying email traffic. Like as far as, so say in your market specifically, what kind of offers generally work well on your list?
On my list, so to acquire the names outright, I'll run a sweepstakes, right? And they're opting in to win that check to buy the gun of their dreams. And then after that, like I said, I'm doing content. And then after 2 weeks, I'm rocking in the offers. The offers that work best is a lot of the tactical accessories. Like there's a red dot site that crushes it, right? It's just like something that I think you can source from overseas pretty cheap, but it's a cool enough thing that you can attach to your handgun and create a red laser sight that there's enough margin for these advertisers to do well on. I'm just now entering the advertiser side of this business, C7 TAC. They're tactical slings, and we sell K9 harnesses as well. Trying to dial that in and work the subscription stuff. So I can't speak too much on the advertiser side just yet, but speaking about these red dot guys, I think that it's just a cool enough product and they can get it, you know, at a cost that makes sense to where the margins work out well, and they can pay me on a CPA basis that I'm pumped. I'm like making $1.25 a click. And I know I'm putting something in front of the right audience. So there's that. There's range bags. A lot of it is this red dot is a straight sale where they're selling it for like $40. But a lot of what works too is the free plus shipping, right? Where instead of saying, here's this range bag for $14.95 free shipping, they're just flipping it. I'm sure you guys are super familiar with that, but they're just flipping, you know, it's free, just cover shipping. And the ability for me to advertise free to millions of people, it gets a lot of engagement that I assume that a $15 range bag with free shipping doesn't quite bring in, right? So there's a lot of accessories. I don't sell the guns themselves, right? I'm just promoting, you know, accessories and gun related things that a gun owner would find value in.
Yeah. I love that free plus shipping still works. I think that's hilarious.
It's like you brought up survival life. I mean, gosh, we're talking maybe 2011, maybe even before.
Dude,
yeah, they've been running that forever, man. So that's cool. So for your list, free plus shipping, tactical kind of gear. What about as far as like, have you tried any of the Agora financial offers, any of the gold stuff, things like that?
Yeah, one of our gold advertisers, probably one of our bigger rentals. These are guys that are finding kind of like a needle in the haystack, right? Like if I blast it out to, you know, 3 million people, they can get like 4 or 5 people that can, you know, spend, you know, take $200K out of their 401k and put it into precious metals. It works so well based on what I'm charging for them to get in front of the audience, right? So you bring up Agora Financial, you know, Oxford and all that. They do, so non-gun things do work very well. I kind of am at the point where I realize that it just so happens they're all there for gun related reasons. But at the end of the day, it's a list of people that open and click. So I put health in front of them. Like anything that Jamie and Dave Desco, he's got a business, Desco Digital. He's another awesome salesman that gets my list rented out a lot. Sorry, I'm just losing my train of thought. I'm like picturing my guys in my head and I'm just like, oh, what work do we have to do? I'm just like,
oh, it's all good, man.
You're talking about some of like, it sounded like almost lead gen offers seem to work on your list as well.
So we'll do like the lead gen offers of like guys trying to basically do what I'm doing, run gun sweepstakes. I can crank those out, right? Because that's why.
What about like auto insurance or refinance, things like that work?
I haven't tried it. I hear people do well with the mortgage stuff, and yeah, I haven't tried that, but yeah, I'm so happy you guys kind of understand it's not all about running gun stuff. It's just about, what works for other people. Like these info offers like Agora, right? They could pay out the CPA that makes sense. And at the end of the day, it's like just more for the click, right?
Well, at the end of the day, man, like it's really the audience, who's the user behind that. And generally like the gun stuff from what we've seen, it's kind of like the Republican list. And if you watch any of those, the way those guys monetize, like John specifically, he understands that market really well. And so it's pretty cool to see. Again, I'm a fan of this model as a whole. And like the fact you guys have 8 million subs doing this, that's a pretty damn strong list.
Yeah, it just kept kind of snowballing, right? I was still at home with my parents, and I just kept, again, bringing up my dad. My mom was a huge influence too. I don't want to say that she was like not a part of it. She was more of like, you sure you want to do this? And like make me pause before just running and gunning. But knowing that I have a place to sleep at night made me, and I always felt like my edge was being able to spend more than the next guy because I could take that risk. There's no like kids that I have to worry about, like, oh man, I can't feed the family. So I was able to acquire a lot very quickly, just by like, getting the subscribers in, monetizing. Cool, I broke even. Now take that again and just kind of snowballing it, making it a bigger buy. And I'm still on the prowl. If you guys know anybody that's a gun publisher, let me know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's such a simple equation. More unique gun subscribers equals more money. And I just keep obsessing over that really easy equation there.
Yeah. If you think about it too, 8 million people, like that's a large chunk of people. America as a whole is like, I think 335 million people. So not everyone loves a gun. So you've done a good job of like scooping those people up, man.
Yeah. I like, by no means do I want to like brag or anything, but I'm pretty sure I got the most. I never thought I'd be like number one in this, but I'm pretty sure. And again, if you guys know anybody that has more or whatever, that has some, like, let me talk to them, because I'm just as eager to buy as I am to receive people renting the list, right? It all makes sense, whether I'm spending it or receiving it,
So what was your approach when it came to like actually identifying these like these lists, finding these lists? Like say I'm in the pet niche, right?
Yeah.
And I want to start buying some email traffic. Like how would you go about that?
Man, I went on this website. I actually was watching a Russell Brunson with ClickFunnels, one of his like early webinar things. And he actually said in that webinar, like, hey, go see Tony Robbins before he loses his voice. And literally the next week I went with my sister, and that was actually a huge impact. Like the Tony Robbins thing, I like was bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. I think if I went to it now, I'd be like, why is everyone jumping around hugging each other and stuff?
Yeah. But now that was my reaction. I'm like, why are we dancing for an hour? Like,
I was just like young enough to where I didn't know enough, and I didn't have like any predisposition. I was just like, he's my answer to where I want to be. So it was like, I got lucky. I went during that time. But Russell Brunson was talking about a tool called similarweb.com. SimilarWeb, you type in any URL, right? They'll show you the traffic breakdown of that site, and they actually show you bar graphs based on where the traffic's coming from. So my indicator, my criteria for finding something that's worth reaching out to, it's manual, right? Like I'm reaching out through my email address, through their contact us. Hey, who can I speak with that heads your email list or heads your email marketing? But my criteria was of, let's say a site got 100,000 visitors, and I'm looking at the bar graph of like social traffic, Gmail traffic, Google traffic. There's direct traffic, which is people just typing in the URL right into their browser, which is actually a really good indicator because it shows that it's a resource for people that they're going to keep on going to. Some of these websites are like auction eBays of guns. So they interact with the email list to get their bid notifications. It's not just like people shoving promos down their mouth. They're there for, their bid notifications, like I said, and other reasons. Like they have like,
smart.
But just getting to the bar graph part of it, there's email traffic as a bar graph, and anything that was 5% or less showed me that there's email traffic going, but they might not know what I know. They might not be hitting this as hard as I think there's opportunity to be hit. Mm-hmm. Also, they're not running any of these direct response offers that work. they're running their own e-commerce stuff, that that's how they're using the list. So I'd go in, kind of find all these related sites to one that I know works, and then I would just reach out. I mean, like, I'd go to work and come back and, you know, stay up till 3 a.m. just doing this stuff because it was fun. It was like every new site I made, or every new site that I found, was like one step closer to like being here and owning the list, right? I just like look. It was fun. I could say that I stayed up all night. Like, it was like, oh, woe is me, but it was what I wanted to do. So long explanation, but similar web, anything that's like 5% or lower on that bar graph of saying email marketing, I felt there was opportunity from reaching out to hundreds of publishers. That is still I would say I go up to maybe like 10% on that now. And Jamie's, you know, one of the people that actually reaches out to a lot of these publishers and finds a lot of them for me now. And he's like, hey, you want to buy this thing? Awesome. And then we work it out like that, which is really a blessing. He's finding new stuff for me now, in addition to renting out the list. And he's one of my best friends from college. So I got super, super lucky with all of that.
No doubt, man. What a time, huh?
Yeah.
Say it again.
I said, what a time, dude. Three meatheads making the gun market work, hanging out. What more could you want?
Yeah. And my sister, she's the one that schedules all the emails for the clients too. So she's been like super, and she's like a master's level person. She's the smartest one in the biz. So I'm like super, super fortunate for her to be on board. You know, it gets a little
very cool.
We talk to each other like siblings when we shouldn't sometimes, when we're frustrated. But overall, it's like, it's just so I'm just very fortunate for all of them to not like take advantage of how close we all are. They're all waking up, getting ready to work, you know, just like I am.
That's awesome, dude.
It all came together. Yeah.
How many sites do you think you reached out to back in the day? And like what was your rate for rejection versus like how many people are like, yeah, we can test that?
Awesome question. I'd probably say I probably reached out to, I'd go to like, page 17, I'll type in like 15 or 15.
Gabe, is it really staticky for you?
Yeah, your audio just crapped out a little bit. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, maybe try unplugging the headphones and plugging it back in. I don't know.
Oh, this is a man who had a Nintendo.
Exactly.
We're back on the team, I think.
All right, cool.
Just like Nintendo, it works.
Yeah,
I'm just glad he didn't lick it.
I actually bought a Game Boy SP to play Pokemon in my free time.
Did you?
On the toilet. I was just doing that the other day, like breathing into it. I was like, oh man, throwing myself back.
No doubt.
That's so funny. Yeah. So what were you saying about how many people you would actually close versus rejection?
Yeah, gosh, I would probably say it's hard to say like how many I've reached out to, but let's just say
for sure
400. Because I would just go like type in my whole process too was typing in, pretending I'm a gun enthusiast, and then interacting with Google accordingly. Best AR-15 rifle scopes, stuff like I personally wouldn't be searching, but I know that they're into it. And then just anything that organically came up. I actually started there before SimilarWeb, and then once I found success with one, I would put that into SimilarWeb, and then it would show me all these related sites, and I'm like, all right, perfect. Like just honing in on what I know works.
Dude, this is such a great breakdown for people who want to.
It is
traffic. Like I feel like I could go do this now.
Yeah,
absolutely, man. It just takes that willingness to reach out. I mean, it's as simple as that, right? Like shooting over an email, and my email subject line was monetizing your list. That was one. Renting your list ? That was I'm trying to think of anything else I reached out to. Jamie does a lot of this now. I really want to get back into it, but because you get a conversation going, they're like, well, what do you like? The list owner will be like, you know, okay, hello, got your email. Well, what do you have in mind? And then I'm like, hey, it'd be great to hop on a phone call. You kind of feel out, reading in between the lines, who's a phone person and who really wants to stick to email. So you just kind of like feed off that, whatever. But then I just ask my typical questions, like how big's the list? How many clicks do you normally get? Like I don't even really ask for open rate, because at the end of the day, I just want clicks.
Yeah.
So like, how many clicks do you get? And like make it very, very general and not specific. Like I don't need to share all of my knowledge, and nor do they. It's just more of like, hey, you have this thing that I think I want to buy into. What makes sense? And really, I just go into it trying to get clicks for like a nickel. Like it's is
Mhm.
why not, if I can. So,
Totally.
it's just I'll say like, hey, well, what do you have in mind? Well, I see your list is 100,000 people. It's doing this many clicks. This is what I want to pay for a click. How about I give you this much up front and we'll see how it goes. And then I'll just say, like, hey, what if I buy 10 of these after the first successful one? Can I get a discount? And then so now kind of fast forwarding to today, I've been able to get these 20 to 25 publishers where I'm buying them out yearly, where I'm the only one renting it. I'm kind of like
shit.
where it makes sense, right? Like where I've rented it enough to where the profits I've made from that, I just reinvest it back in with the publisher, and they've helped me buy their list for the year. And then the rate is like almost cut in half from what they were selling it to me on a one-off. So a little bit, I think that's like the JRWA experience really helped me with like the deal making side, which is just
Totally.
buying a bunch and trying to get it lower. There's really not much negotiation, just asking like, hey, if I buy the whole year's worth once or twice a week, can I get this? And it's money they wouldn't have not had, right? So it's like it all works out. They're like, oh,
Yeah.
sweet, you're just like this guy sending me dough.
It's pretty hands off for them too.
Yeah, they just accept my email. Like the only technical work is if they're like, hey, I need this in HTML. I don't know HTML. So I go to Fiverr, whatever. Hey, can you make this HTML thing?
Yeah.
Probably could ask somebody on the team, but yeah, and I just they send an email. I mean, that's it, and I get to look at what the leads do, and that's it. Yeah,
Easy peasy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm literally on SimilarWeb right now, just kind of like browsing through this, and it's so freaking cool, man.
Yeah, it gives you a lot, and like
Yeah.
it's free too. I think there's a paid version that even gives you, I think it gives you like the top 1,000 sites in any category. But I think you can even sign up for like a 14-day free trial and just keep doing that if you wanted to, maximize their resource to the fullest potential. But yeah, it's yeah, I don't know where I'm going with all this, but yeah.
Oh, dude, this is honestly sick, man. Like, and again, like I've heard of SimilarWeb before, but like I've never used it quite like this.
Sure.
And like it's just so interesting. Like, I'm looking around, I see this one site. Most of their traffic is like search. 90% search, 7% direct. Their email is like 0.14. Like it seems like such a good candidate,
That might be a perfect potential right there. And even going back to your example of like the pet niche, I think if someone like came to me and were like, hey, how do I create a list in this specific space? Because, this like offer centric, like, hey, this pet offer is crushing it. I know that if I get a list of 100,000 pet minded people, this one offer in particular is going to work out well. I'd probably say, hey, get like 10 really good offers that you can start rotating in every other day on an affiliate basis. But the direct path from like 0 to 100 would be go to SimilarWeb or type in a pet search. Like if you're a pet person, like best dog food. And then just reaching out to all the results that Google will give you. Maybe don't reach out to PetSmart and some of these huge publishers that probably won't get back to you. Maybe go to like page 4 or 5, check it out with SimilarWeb. It's kind of like that whole thing, like finding it on Google, reaching out, then maybe going to SimilarWeb. What are some other related sites? And they kind of direct you with what you're already trying to think of, and then running a sweepstakes to that specific audience, put in front of them the best thing that they want. And if it's if it's a fitness list, do a Peloton bike giveaway. If it's a pet list, ultimate pet bundle where you got like dog food and pet brushes, and I'm just going off the top of the dome, but it's kind of like a big concept of just like finding the list, talking to the publisher, they know like how many clicks it's going to produce, and then your offer is a sweepstakes lead gen where you're putting like the most attractive thing you think the audience would actually go for to opt in on. You get them on the list. Autoresponder is confirm your entry. That should do like 50% open. And then after that, give them 2 weeks of like just solid pet tips, pet ownership tips. And then you gain their trust. You're in with the ISPs. You're inboxing super good with Gmail and all of that. The deliverability side it's kind of like my main focus now, of like how to just make more with what's already in my possession. Yeah. But yeah, like just that's how you get in really good with the ISPs. Like don't fake that you're a publisher, be a publisher.
Yeah.
Really publish news,
Yeah.
you know, get articles written up, you know, spend the time and money, not to maybe write them up yourself, but go find them, go on Upwork, go on Fiverr. There's even a company I'm using, Fat Joe. They're out of Australia. They write a lot of my gun content where, I know I'm kind of going on a lot, but I just want to mention this.
No, it's good, bro.
Yeah, I wish that somebody would have told it to me like this when I was starting out, and not this like, well, take this piece from that guy and I think that makes sense. Like, this is, you know, you just got to do the work, right? Like, even if you give the info to people, maybe 10% of people are actually going to
100%, man.
You know how to,
Yeah, every day,
dude.
But Fat Joe, keep going on that.
Yeah,
copywriting.
Fat Joe's the article writers. So what I did was I created a giveaway to my own list, and after I did like an internal promotion. They enter the giveaway, sweepstakes, however you want to call it, and then on the next page, I asked them a question. What's your number one question when it comes to concealed carry? So I got 3,000 answers. That stuff I would have never thought of. Like, what's the best grip for my 1911? What's the best way to practice shooting without bullets? Like, the pulse of the people, like what the gun people want to know. So then I took all of those answers, which are questions, like they're responding with questions. And I went to Fat Joe and I said, I need 500 articles written answering all these questions.
Bro, so fucking smart.
You know, just kind of like lining up the most direct path to like, this is what they want, give it to them. Don't question it at all, you know?
Yeah.
So I get them to write that up. I have all this unique content. And I've seen it where people share other people's sites. And I think that's all good because when they click, you're clearly directly sourcing to them. So I think someone could do this by like aggregating other sites' content. But I like doing it internally because when they head to our sites, they click on the Google ads, they click on like static banners we put up. And it's like, it just gives this like a real level of credibility. Like, wow, this brand is like a publisher. So that's kind of how I go about writing the content. It's like I asked the list, like, what do you guys want to know about? And then I had Fat Joe write it all up. So that was kind of the whole concept. Yeah.
What's so when you're buying traffic from someone else, you're doing the gun survey, are you trying to break even up front on that traffic? Or do you just like, you're like, hey, I'm cool with investing, I'm going to make my money back over time? How do you guys approach it?
Yeah, I've been super lucky. Like, I'll just say that. I think my expectations are a little bit skewed just because I found publishers that I can pay a certain amount to. They're happy to receive it, and I'm getting this huge win in clicks. So, I mean, there's some times where I'm actually profiting the same day because after they enter, they're going to a thank you page of, hey, claim any of the 2 below free gifts. They're all free plus shipping offers that I know work. So that's immediately day 0, eating away at that ad cost. There's some days that thank you page does more than what I paid. So I'm getting like free leads sometimes and making a little bit. I would say generally though, I want to break even within 7 days within that whole content sequence of the thank you page plus all these Google ad clicks after 2 weeks, after 7 days of that content, I really should kind of break even. And then at that point, every promo I send is profitable.
That's awesome.
Minus mailing expenses. But Ross has been super awesome with Maripost, where the more volume, more publishers I find, the more volume I have. And then he is super cool. His finance guy, Gagan. I'm name dropping all this stuff because I want people to know, like, this is who you need to talk to if you're into it. But they're able, just like how I do the media buys, if I up the volume, give me a better CPM. So I'm able to get, it's like this cool dynamic of like, it's all working and it's getting cheaper as it all goes with the mailing costs.
Yeah, I know they'll drop CPM with the more mail you send. They'll give you like bulk rate pricing. So that's super sick, man.
They've been a game
You've
changer.
literally laid out a model like one of the best that we've ever had on this show. This is like awesome.
Yeah, there's no reason to hold the cards. No one's gonna.
No. Especially with this model, man. There's so many markets you could do. I mean, what do you want to do? Women's fashion, pets, like. You could do freaking almost anything, man. As long as like there's a market there, like it's just crazy the opportunity that exists.
Yeah. I would say like going into it, know the offers you want to send them before, when you're making your whole autoresponder sequence. Know that the offers you're going to send them work. I would say that took a lot of the risk out of it, is knowing that these free plus shipping offers work well. So I knew that if I acquire the gun eyeballs, it'll all work out. And I have, we have a network, like a has offers network, where we have over 380 tactical offers now. So there's a lot of like rotation,
very cool.
Mixing and matching and knowing like what's working and what's not.
No doubt.
That's very cool, man. Dude, if you want me asking, what's your biggest month you've done?
You know how business is. Some days are better than others.
Yeah, fair enough.
We're gonna do 8 figures this year in gross revenue.
Yeah. That's sick, dude. That's
awesome. Some months are better than others, and the reason why.
Oh, for sure.
The reason why there's even an ebb and flow to that, and I'm really trying to stop that, because I hate the gut punch of like, oh, that month was so amazing, and it's like, how ungrateful I am to be like complaining about those months when before it was like begging to sell something to make $50, right? But it's all relative. It's just like, yes, the money's cool and like income is awesome and we're all like trying to up it, but it's really about like winning the game. You want to feel like you're winning. And when the numbers aren't as good as they were, it's not necessarily about like what's going in your pocket. It's like, oh, I'm not doing as good. And what I was just getting at there is the ebb and flow that I'm really trying to stabilize and keep sustainable is frequency of offers, right? Like you have to always be on the lookout for new offers, which is why what led us to create C7 TAC. Like we noticed that the tactical sling market wasn't really being promoted too much as a product. And then this whole canine harness niche, this tactical canine, kind of like our subject line is like, my dog was mistaken for the canine unit wearing this. And that kind of still speaks to the gun person, but it kind of takes the pet skew with them as well.
Yeah.
Totally.
Dude, we used to have an outdoor store and we used to sell tactical dog stuff.
It worked
sweet. Well.
Yeah. People like kind of look at their pets as, second family members, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I was gonna say too, man, 8 figures, those are pretty strong numbers, man. We just broke into that a few years ago. So
wow.
Yeah.
Congrats.
That's dope though. Yeah. But man, it's like, it's interesting. Like I'm kind of with you on the same, where I love playing the game. Like I would do this shit for free. There's times I'm supposed to have 15-minute phone calls with guys, and an hour later we're still talking about this stuff.
Yeah.
It's just so much fucking fun to like.
It's amazing, man.
Yeah, and
we're making money out of thin air. We're literally making money out of thin air.
Literally, man, and like all from home, wearing our like navy or our light blue shirts. You know what I mean? It works out well, man. It's a good way to live life.
Say it again, Tyler.
Good way to live life.
Yeah. I just like, gosh, man, I really sold out with the whole Tony Robbins thing. I did the vision board, right? And like this place, like I'm not trying to sound too corny, but this place that I'm in Puerto Rico and everything, like it's exactly like I wanted it. Like I never even knew Puerto Rico was going to be the thing. I just found out about this tax incentive thing. And that's another thing I'd love to touch on. Is like for anybody that's doing well and doing their thing, and they are totally fine with living in Puerto Rico. It's not a third world country like a lot of people think. Yes, there's some areas just like any place you live in, but it is America. Yeah, there's going to be more Spanish speaking and all that, but it takes your corporate tax rate down to 4%, and your capital gains tax is 0%. So if you're into Bitcoin and like you have a lot of confidence and faith that it's going to be 100K, 200K, come on to Puerto Rico, move your business, hold it. And then when you exit, you get to keep all of it. And that was kind of like this thing where I couldn't stop thinking about it. Like 2 years ago, I visited Puerto Rico thinking about doing the same thing. And then unfortunately, my dad got sick and it just wasn't the right timing. But now Jocelyn, my girlfriend, was like, hey, you sure you don't want to do this? And she was actually the reason why we're here now. She's like totally open to it. She ended up, I just want to touch on her real quick.
No, it's fine, man.
She had an awesome job in the hospitals in Miami. She's got a master's from Pitt. She's a biostat person. I mean, she's
another Pitt, huh? Pittsburgh?
Yeah. Who's from Pitt?
So many people from Pittsburgh down in Florida. It's like, especially on the West Coast here, most of my friends in Tampa are like from Pittsburgh.
Yeah. And they're super cool people, man. Like just generally, like we just did a trip over there and like, say it again?
Steeler Nation, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a Dolphins fan, so we go back and forth on that all the time. But no, I just gotta say, like she saw the opportunity with like this lowering tax rate so much that she ended up like applying for jobs, remote full-time jobs, even though she had an awesome gig and working in the hospitals in Miami. She was like, no, let's do this. And I was like, oh, you're awesome. Like, this is amazing. And she ended up getting a full remote job, got a raise,
Nice.
put her mind to it. And now she like doesn't really work as many hours as she used to. And like by like a factor of like 1/10 the amount of work, and she has a raise. So now she's actually handling customer service for C7 TAC now. So
very cool.
Again, like there's challenges that come with that where we think things should be different ways, but yeah,
I know.
Super cool. That's what led to the whole. Okay, you have a woman in your biz, your girlfriend.
Yeah, my wife used to do stuff on our outdoor store, and now she does stuff with this podcast.
Oh, cool.
So I just stopped giving my opinion.
Yeah,
I'm learning. Just like do what you want to do, take it all in. But yeah, no, that's 100%.
It's not like I know what the fuck I'm doing or anything, but cool.
Yeah.
Yep. I got you, man. But that was the whole Puerto Rico thing, man. It's like I said, I've only been here for 2 months, but it's super cool. Like it's like nice beaches, not as crowded. COVID got hit pretty hard here, but overall it's really worth it. And for me, it's a 2-hour flight back home to West Palm Beach, so it's not that crazy, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
Beach, one of the meccas.
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys having me on, man, because this is stuff that I just like have kept in my head for like 4 years. I never really just like let it all out, and I'm like, it's like like therapeutic.
Dude, honestly, this was like one of I think the better episodes, just because you've broken down everything so much, and it makes all sense. Like, how do I find a list? What do I show the list? How do I monetize on the back end? Who writes my content? Like, you put it together pretty fucking well, man. Like, I almost feel like you should put a course out on this shit, because I bet you people are going to be into it.
But then I'll be just like those gurus that screwed me over. I'm not trying to say
you'll do it right though.
You'll do it right. I feel like people are gonna have to listen to this thing a few times, just because you drop so much shit, man. Or take notes. Yep. Put it on slower, not faster on YouTube. Yeah.
Similarweb.com.
Yeah, I like it. All right. Well, I appreciate you coming, man. It's been awesome. Thanks to everyone listening today. For everyone watching, please do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube. And for everyone listening, please give us a 5-star review on Spotify, iTunes, or Stitcher. Yeah. Oh, you know what? I totally forgot. If you want people to do you want people to reach out to you?
Okay, sure.
You can say no. You can say no. It's fine, man.
This what we're doing right now is like the first ever experience I've had of like giving back, I guess you could say, or like whatever, just sharing what I know. And I'm happy to open that up. Like, if people want to reach out, for sure. Yeah, not a problem.
So we can do like email, we can do your Instagram, we can do whatever you want, man, and we'll just plug it below. So what do you think you're gonna do? Email?
Yeah, email would be perfect. It's Christopher@c4.email.
Cool. And we'll get that plug below the video for you guys. And we will see you on the next one. Thanks for coming, man. Thanks for showing up, Tyler.
You got it.
Gabriel, I want to say too, man, I put a deposit down on a Lucid. So whenever you get these episodes going on the entrepreneurs and cars, when I go back to Florida and everything, maybe we'll work something out there.
I'm trying to bring, actually, Gabe hasn't had his Miami experience yet. So I've been trying to find an opportunity for that.
Man. I was supposed to have a bachelor party, but we had to call it off because of COVID.
Well, you got to make up for it in Miami then.
No doubt.
Check out
11. I think I need 2. I need like a West Coast and an East Coast. So
there you go.
All right, guys.
Great to meet you.
Later.